Okay, so I'm happy to be here with Arnaud from Rossignol. He's going to present the new Xavier Delarue split board. Unfortunately, we missed out Xavier Delarue,
Yeah.
but he is at least
I
as
can speak
same
English.
as good as Xavier for presenting it.
Oh, maybe presentation. Not
And,
writing for sure.
and yeah, we will see. So, what is the best way to use the new sashimi split board from Xavier?
So basically what we did and what we do as a standard procedure at Rossignol is we just split the regular snowboard. So the behavior riding down the hill is the same on a split board that it is on a non-split board. So we developed that sashimi after Xavier Delarue will of doing a softer version of his signature model, historical signature model, and also a version that has more tail than the sushi, which we developed 2 years ago, and also that could be able to ride precisely on slopes, carve harder than the sushi, not as extremely shaped and flexed as the Delarue, as his signature model, but still in the same area of flexibility, which is very different from what's existing on the market. Xavier rides on his front leg. Xavier is all forward-leaning on the front insert. This is why we have that sashimi split board that is stiffer on the tip, softer on the tail. Also, speaking of technology, maybe you're not going to be able to see it from that perspective, but it's built with polyurethane stripes in it. This is what we call the light grip. So we basically have polyurethane stripes that run all along the edges, interrupt between the bindings, and go back down again along the edges on the tail. The polyurethane stripes, the PU stripes, gives real smoothness to the snowboard. Entering the turn, exiting the turn is really smooth, really nice. It's also a shock absorption, like a shock absorber for a car. So anything that hits the board is really mellowed out through that polyurethane stripes. The reason why we break that that PU stripes between the bindings is because we want to achieve grip. On traverse, on hiking up, you need a grip behind or underneath your bindings. So this is why we have that PU stripe cutting out, interrupted between the bindings, so that the flex of the board really, the board bends between the bindings where the PU stripes interrupts, creating bumps, artificial bumps, because you don't see them, but they are real bumps in flexibility. And those two bumps on your toes and your heel when you hike up, on your heel side or your toe side when you ride down, are really like magnet traction edges, like serrated edges, and they really dig into the snow, getting grip between the bindings on your body when you hike up, which is key for hiking up, particularly on traverse or icy snow conditions, but also riding down when you lean forward or you lean backward on your edges. So you have that grip, light grip. You have that reverse flex pattern for Xavier, front foot. You have that nice tail, which you didn't have much on the sushi, which is very much a tree riding board. This one is really an all-mountain board, not as extreme as the XV is, but a softer version of it that's perfect for backcountry riding, for 20% to 35% slopes, not go to 45 or 50% like Xavier does on extreme with his signature model, and also for carving and for riding piste. A little tail again. You may even be able to land switch and ride switch with this one, which is not the case for the sushi, for instance, which is kind of the different league. The tip is also wide, not as wide as the sushi, but is wider than the XV, and the tail is narrower. We have 45 millimeters pintail on this one, so it really gives you that versatility, that maneuverability on the tail. That's pretty much it for the Sashimi Split. It's a sintered base as well, and it delivers with the hooks and tip and tail lockers, standard procedure, and then we work for bindings with the same company we did introduce the bindings 5 years ago with Xavier Delarue. So as I mentioned, this is the standard XV split version. So this is a 6 years old classic model that was split back at that time again, and that we're delivering again in 4 sizes, 59, 63, 67, and 64 wide. It has, as I said, that reverse flex profile. It has the original, maybe you're going to be able to see it, the wavy edges, the serrated edges for the better grip. And we also have a women's version of for split boarding. It's called the Diva. The Diva is more a Marion Aerty style of board.
Yeah.
She won the Freeride World Tour twice. She's on her third tour this year. Hopefully she's going to win it again. And we developed that Diva split board for her specifically. So that's the Diva 52. Diva 52 is based on a twin freestyle snowboard with a thicker wood core and directional insert patterns. So even though it was originally thought as a twin freestyle board, we made it slightly directional for split boarding use. So it has the tinted base, the skis that are, I call them skis because the way we think split boarding at Rossignol is really much like a ski. So you have, the full wrap edges. We also have that double torsion box, that dual torsion box, the fiberglass that wraps around the full half of the wood core. And we also have the basalt and the aramid fiber reinforcement for shock absorption and punch.
And now I have another question. Why should I buy a Rossignol split board instead of a different brand? What's the reason you would say?
There are a few reasons for which I would consider the XV Delivery, particularly signature models from the sushi all the way to the XV, going through the sashimi, because it's made after Xavier Delerue's will and way of riding. The majority, if not all, of the other boards on the market are made with a classic flex profile, which is a profile that is traditionally stiffer on the back foot or on the middle, in the middle part of the snowboard. But most of the people, the majority of the people who ride split boarding, who ride free ride, not extreme but free ride, lean or put the majority of their weight on their front leg. Therefore, for us, and for Xavier Delerue even more than us, the critical area of the snowboard is on the front foot, on the front part of it, on the front leg. So from front leg, from front inserts, all the way to the beginning of the tip, to the kick tip. So this is why we make that part of the snowboard stiffer than the tail of the board. And then when you lean back, when you want to curl back shoulder, when you want to slow down, you just transfer your weight from your front foot to your back foot. And then you basically, the beauty of having that tail softer than the tip makes the tail sink into the snow, and you're able to rotate, to torsion the board much better with a softer tail than a softer tip, and slow down immediately. That tail will sink into the softer snow, and also the side cut radius will dig deeper into the snow. So you get a shorter side cut radius, and in the meantime you also have a tail that sinks into the snow. So that makes it much safer on certain areas of the mountain, basically going from super fast to slow and kind of safety maneuvers. Sometimes that can happen. And with that reverse flex, this is really different from what's available on the market. And I haven't heard many companies, if not any, doing this on their free ride boards. So that's the first reason. The second reason is the technology that we're bringing into the Sashimi, the Polyurethane Stripes. That's also a patent from Rossignol. So they're that kind of shock absorbing that breaks in for additional bumps on your toe side or heel side, or heel, whether hiking up or riding down, is also patented, and that also is a kind of breakthrough technology on the snowboard. So that's also very interesting. And the third reason why I would strongly recommend, and I'm proud of it, because I can recommend, but it's not going to make a difference if you don't ride it. It's also the construction, the fact that we're wrapping around both part of the snowboard, those skis with a full socket of fiberglass, and adding those either carbon Kevlar or aramid and basalt, depending on the smoothness that we want to achieve on all our boards.
And now we all know about all the sustainability debate, which is around in the market.
Yeah.
And if you rank your boards from one, which is not sustainable at all, up to 10.
Yeah.
Where would you rank it and why?
I would rank it 5, right in the middle, because we have FSC certified wood cores. We don't do a pure biosourced top sheet, but we reduce the thickness of the top sheet. And that also, for me, there are two ways of walking towards sustainability. It's either making products that last longer, also, or using biodegradable or biosourced raw materials, or also lowering or using less of oil-sourced materials.
Okay, great. And now if I start splitboarding, and I don't know so much about it, it's a pretty big investment, like around 1,000 euro or maybe more, maybe a little bit less. What can I expect from the Rossignol split boards regarding durability?
Well, this is, as I said, I think this is part
if
also...
If I don't hit a rock or something, just normal use for a usual split boarder?
We have a 2 years warranty on industry and factory issues, but we also believe that the products that we make, as I said earlier, are really as tough as the industry can make. We think products like we do on skis, and we make sure that they're unbreakable. Everyone can break, but technically speaking, for the rest of the collection, not only for free ride, some of the customers are still riding the same product for 10 years. So the idea for us is to build products for an unlimited lifetime.
Okay, and if I'm your customer, I have a Rossignol Sashimi, and I have some issues with the quality or something. How do you deal with it? It can happen at every brand.
We have an online website that you can reach.
How many times does it need? Because I'm not very much interested to reach an online website and wait weeks to get another board. I'm missing my powder days. So how do you deal with it?
So there's a phone number that you can call directly.
Okay.
So it's not only online. We also have a customer service that can take calls at all times. So they open, even overnight sometimes, but open at 8 o'clock in the morning all the way to 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay. So that's every day, all through the season, and that online obviously is 24 hours per day, obviously, and I personally also contribute. It's not only the customer service, but also the product managers, and every division in the company is involved into that hotline. So I also reply directly to the customers when I can visualize that the reply that they get from the customer service is either not appropriate or sometimes takes too much time.
So the optimum process would be that I take a picture, I send it to somebody of you, I call, and then you take a decision if it's under warranty or
not. Yes, that or going directly to the dealer that you brought the product to.
Okay,
so
but
it's
with
either
the dealers,
that.
I don't have such a good experience because they say we need at least 3 weeks, 4 weeks until it comes back.
It's anywhere between the way I reply to the questions that I get from the online, the hotline service is either an hour to 24 to 48 hours. So that's my standard time for replying. Depending on the amount of time that I need to address the question, sometimes some questions are way more technical than just a scratch or just a mounting issue. They can take time. But as far as I'm concerned, if I can reply and if the hotline can reply immediately, we do it in an hour.
Okay.
But average, it's certainly not an hour. But between 1 day to 2 days, it's definitely not in weeks.
Okay, what would you recommend to buy Rossignol split board? Would you recommend to buy it online at the dealer? Would you recommend to go at test events to get to know the products better?
For me, there's nothing that will beat a testing. Not only for snowboarding or skiing, for everything. Just make sure that those products fit your style, fit your ride, and are built for your level. And some of the products that we offer on the market will not take you from zero, from beginner all the way to professional. Xavier Delerue signature model, I would not recommend that board, for instance, to any beginner. I would recommend the Sashimi, for instance, to intermediate to expert rider. But for beginner, I would recommend something shorter, easier to maneuver in the shorter sizes, like the Diva 52 is perfect for women, for instance, and then train gradually through your own experiences. And rental for me is also key to begin with. So the events, the test events that we run into the majority of the countries. So go through those test events, ride the board, that you feel that you're going to be riding, and go test the Sashimi, go test the Diva for women, and take a decision after riding the products. If you don't have an occasion to test the product, go to your local dealer, and I would also recommend go to a dealer and talk to someone and get the recommendations. If not, then ask the question on the hotline. Personally, I like to talk to people. I like to have people reply to questions, and more than make my decision from a pure online product descriptions that I see. Magazines as well are key also to a decision. So the magazine test, the magazine own point of view.
All right, thank you very much.
My pleasure.